Hello, hello, everybody. Okay, so you know that guy is, right? You know who that guy is right there you're looking at, right? That is Mr. Seabrook, Stacy Seabrook. And he made a request of those of us who like Stacy and everything. And he made a request if we could get some people to subscribe to his channel so he can get to 1,000 subscribers. And well, I'll let him explain it to you right now.
I think this case is about Stephen Avery alone. No, it's about way more than that. It goes right to the heart of abuse of power, corruption.
Oh, they say
the police culture. Yeah, I can see the mindset. I can see the negative part of the culture, which I certainly stayed away from. But I could see exactly what they did, and I could see that Steve was a target, and they used Brendan to get him, and that's the great injustice in it. I think is how they manipulated Brendan to get Steve, because they couldn't get him in the other way, you know. And then I believe that most of the evidence was planted. I'm unclear on the bones, but certainly the key was dropped.
Oh, those bones were planted.
Oh, they say you can't trust us. All but they use the badge for an illusion of justice. Oh, they say
My name's Stacy Seabrook, and this is the Map Fam.
all but they use the flag for an illusion of justice. Of justice.
All right. Hello, hello. Hey, how you doing, everybody? So, wanted to play that for everybody. Get out of theater mode here. All right.
Theater mode, at least.
Wanted to play that.
Get fired.
Sorry, I had it fill in the screen there. So that's Stacy's kind of alluding to his little pet project, basically, right? So part of it, well, something he's going to need here is he needs to get to 1,000 subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed to Stacy already and you like his stuff, go over and hit subscribe. You know, show Stacy some love, because he needs to be able to. He has to have 1,000 subscribers to be able to use his mobile phone to go live, which is going to be a big deal to those of us who love Stacy. It's going to be a big deal to us that he's going to be able to go live at rally and stuff like that, right? So it's a big deal. Go over there and hit subscribe for Stacy, please. You know, he's awesome. We love his stuff. So it's and I definitely want him to be able to go live at rally. I want him to be able to do, you know, and even before, he's going to be doing some. I think he's got some interesting plans coming up, anyways. So I think it'd be good if that guy can go live from his mobile phone. So go help him out. Now, today we were supposed to be doing Scooby School. That was the original name of this. Those of you who refresh will find out it has a different name now. So we're putting Scooby School till I think Thursday. I think I'm gonna freaking pass out from exhaustion before I get through this weekend. But anyway, we're gonna be doing Scooby School on Thursday because we're having a little bit of technical difficulties. But Scooby's still here. Hi, Scoobs.
Hey, hi. Could you try sending that link to my other email address?
Sending it. You want me to send it to your other email address?
Yeah. Do I have I don't know if I have Hangouts there though. I don't know. I'm just a mess.
I don't know, but yeah. So we'll deal with that off the air, maybe tomorrow or something. Well, actually, those of you saw in that clip, folks.
PowerPoint presentation.
You saw in that clip, folks. Carol Ann Fitzgerald, right? She will be on tomorrow night. Okay, so just so you guys know, I'm going to actually be speaking with her and the Hod, folks. The Hod and Carol Fitzgerald in the same hangout at the same time. Be there, be square. But anyway, that was her. You heard her talking in that clip. and she's going to be on tomorrow night. So for those of you who are interested, tune in for that. Yeah. So beyond that, Scooby School is postponed till Thursday, and tonight we're going to talk about that clip. Did you guys see the clip that Convicting a Murderer posted on Twitter? That clip is freaking brilliant. That guy has Ken Kratz on the defensive. He has Ken Kratz truly on the defensive all throughout that minute and 47 seconds. And I think it's brilliant. One of the things that Kratz said in it. Oh, good brother. See it. Okay, so you saw Kratz, Linda? Cool. Right on. Are you smoking crack? Yeah, that was another one. Another, like, wow, dude, you just said that, dude. It's like, but no, for me it was he talked about the coroner. The guy goes, why wasn't the coroner, like, why did you block the coroner or whatever? And he's like, oh, what do I need the coroner for? The coroner can't tell me whose bones they are. The coroner, you know what the coroner is? This is where I think he just woo, cuckoo. He goes, the coroner just comes in and kicks the body like as if it's a new car, right? He's like, the coroner just comes in and kicks the body and goes, oh, they're dead. What do I need a coroner for? What do I need a coroner for? Well, you actually had one, Kratz. It's just that you brought him in from Calumet County instead of letting the coroner whose jurisdiction it was in do it. And what's really, really bad about that, Ken, seriously, what's really bad about that is that you let every other department of Manitowoc County Sheriff's Department all over this investigation, all the ones that had a conflict of interest, you opened the floodgates and let them rush in. But then when you got to the one department that didn't have a conflict of interest with Stevens' 1985 case, they're barred, they're blocked, and you bring in Calumet County, and don't sit there and tell me about you don't need a coroner. Of course you need a coroner. But it's just bizarre. His argument is bizarre, but it's when you add that aspect of the fact that every single department of Manitowoc County Sheriff's Department that had a conflict of interest was allowed right on in. You go right in, sir. Right? But then when it comes to the one department that didn't have a conflict, and they're not allowed. Does that suggest maybe they're afraid that person would come on the scene and see things and tell the truth instead of towing the line, kowtowing to whoever was orchestrating this whole thing? He always had to put others down to prove his points. Yeah. Ken talks craps. I saw it on Twitter. If you type in Convicting a Murderer, it's actually a Twitter account called Convicting a Murderer, because they obviously created a Twitter account for their project. Anyway, today they tweeted a clip. It's a minute and 47-second clip. Because they obviously created a Twitter account for their project. Mute your YouTube. Today they tweeted a clip. Boobs, you gotta mute your YouTube. There you go. Thank you. Twitter account for their project. Mute your YouTube. Today they tweeted a clip. Boobs, you gotta mute your YouTube. There you go. Thank you. All right. The law says you need a coroner from the county where the body was found. I mean, that's what it should be, right? Why is there any games being played at all on that? And we know that the Manitowoc County coroner was ready and willing, even though she wasn't finding out through the proper channels. She still showed up with her game face, ready to go in and do the job, right? So it's not like she was derelict in her duties, or they could construe that she wasn't around somehow or whatever, or some other lame crap, right? They can't do that because she was right there ready with bells on. I'm here. Let's go. So the fact that they passed that over deliberately, purposefully, it says more than, I mean, they're trying to say it doesn't mean anything, but it means a lot. It means a lot because it was the one department that didn't have a conflict of interest. I can't say that enough. Forensic anthropologists assist others. There was no need to kick Coroner out. So they tweeted a clip that made him look like a moron. Perfect. Yeah, he does. He looks bad all throughout it. I mean, he looks like he is reeling and trying to, you know, that minute and 47 seconds doesn't look good for him. Okay, hold on, Scoob. You want it to your other? I don't know that.
Oh, okay.
I don't think I do anyway.
Okay. I'll text it to you. I'm still determined to do my PowerPoint presentation. I never should have bought that second monitor.
You never should have brought it.
It's ruined everything. So that clip was from that movie? Is that what that's from? That making a
It's a clip. Yeah, it's a clip of the interview of Kratz. Apparently, there's like, from what I understand, there's something like 4 hours of footage of it. But
that sounds. Now, are they in the process of making that movie, or is it done? I obviously don't pay attention.
I'm not sure if it's done yet or not either. I mean, I remember it was supposed to come out in 2018, possibly. Then it got moved again, I think. I'm not sure when that thing's coming out.
Yeah, that's really bad. He actually said that. That does sound.
Oh, he said a few things that were just like
He must be on the Xanax and OxyContin again.
Yeah, could be.
He must be doing the cocktails. What was he doing? He was doing Ambien, Xanax, and oxycodone, I think.
Right.
I mean, during the trial. I mean, most of us would be passed out. You would think he was. Well, it explains why he didn't know what bones, were which. Okay.
All right.
I'm gonna just check this just in case. You never know.
I just sent it, so otherwise I'm moving forward because.
Well, yeah, I know. You gotta move. You gotta move. We could always talk, and I could draw pictures, but you keep going.
Yeah, everybody go watch it now. Well, Scooby figures out if she can get joined here.
I need a teenager.
He just looks. I mean, I felt like there was parts of that where he was acting like he did when Judge Willis asked him if he knew who deleted the voicemails, and he was like, "Oh, well, if we had any inkling, like I saw some like moments that reminded me of that in it, and I was just like, it's like, dude, the guy is so dishonest. He can't even hide it when he's being dishonest." I have a feeling they will edit it in favor of Kratz's side of the story. They may edit it later for that way. I'm sure. I'm sure there's a portion of the interview that wasn't that way, right? So we'll see when Convicting a Murderer comes out. We'll see what it is. We'll see what they got. You know. Yeah, he's. You know, you gotta hope that there's going to be a bit more than 1 minute and 47 seconds of the hard questions, right? Because that's the first time I've seen anybody interview Kratz like that. To asking, coming at him with difficult questions, and that sort of stuff. So it's I was actually glad to see it, but who knows how much. Like I said, that could be maybe a small part of that 4 hours. The part where they get tough with him. So. If it ever gets picked up. Oh, I'm sure it will at some point.
Hey, can you try sending me the link? I didn't get the link. It didn't come.
Oh. I sent it. I don't know what else to do. I could try this.
I sent you a message back. Did you see that? At the university, they just have a tech person who sets everything up.
Sending it to Messenger because that's the only other thing I can try.
Oh, Messenger. Oh, here's something. Okay. But, I have to copy it then?
He is a big within anything he says and all what he does. The Kratz rats, right? Kratz is on medical leave now. Thought I read it on Reddit. Is he on medical leave? From medical leave from what? I don't think he actually works as a lawyer anymore. So certainly not a district attorney. With everything that has been uncovered now, he has to be nervous. This is the first time we see him getting frustrated and raise the squeaky voice. I'm seeing and hearing Scoob. Yeah, Scooby's here.
Scooby's very sad.
Amazing.
Scooby's very sad. I wonder if I can get PowerPoint onto this iPad. Of course,
Watched him vomited. Hey, look, I like seeing Kratz uncomfortable. I like seeing, him fielding uncomfortable questions. The one thing I didn't see him do was conjure the hall box. I'll give him that. But maybe who knows? He may have done that in another part of the questioning. Who knows? But in that minute and 47 seconds, I didn't hear him raise the hall box, the specter of the hall box. So, maybe he deserves a little credit. Tiny bit. Maybe. Right? Some of the things he said, I was just like, oh, he just said that? Oh, my God. Yeah, that was good. So, Scoobs, I'm going to have to go ahead and move forward with what I was planning to do here since it doesn't seem like the technical difficulties are getting worked out. So, ultimately, when it comes down to it, like Stacy was saying in his clip, this isn't just, isolated around Stephen Avery. Okay? There's a number of things around Stephen that make this case really questionable. And the number one of those things is Brendan Dassey. Okay? The fact that this kid, who is telling a very consistent story before he was dragged into an interrogation room and browbeat by a couple of grown men into telling a story they wanted to hear. He told it all the way up to that point, and then when he recants that ridiculous story that two grown men who supposedly care about justice, did to him. And when he gets out of that, he goes back to telling the same exact story that he told the whole time that never changed. And so these are indicators of they knew what they were doing. They realized they had to have realized what they were doing. It's either that or they are just terrible human beings and horrible at their job. I mean, and it would have to be both. It's just ridiculous. And then when you look at the the circumstances leading up to them targeting Brendan, right? They are visiting the jail every day to talk to Jody. And the conversations they're having with her, suggesting things to her that they wanted her to say or that they were hoping she would say, and everything, a lot like what goes down with Brendan. Except Brendan didn't do what Jody did. And Jody eventually got sick of them coming in and questioning her and asking her these really messed up things. And so she told the jail to not allow them in. She denied them the ability to come in and talk to her anymore. Okay? As soon as that happens, they know they can no longer pick on the poor victim of substance abuse who's stuck in a jail right now, right? They can no longer pick on her and browbeat her, right? So what's the next best thing? Oh, I know. We'll set our sights on a mentally limited juvenile. There we go, Mr. Brendan Dassey. It's the craven attitude of the investigators in this that really bugs me. They look desperate. They act desperate. And it's that desperation that tells me they don't even have faith in their own case. But they do want to see Stephen Avery go to prison. That much they do. They're all agreed on that one thing. But I think that they all realize that there are severe questions in this investigation. I know, let's see, I know we'll get hate on this, but I think there is something hinky with her. Hey, Karen Gainey. They knew they just wanted Stephen. They didn't care about Brendan. It was just collateral damage. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look at what they did. They coerced Brendan. They feed him that whole terrible story. And then what do? The next day, they are going on live on TV with this press conference that, was way over the top based on all of these things that were fed to Brendan by investigators, really. And it's just ridiculous. And there's nothing to back it up. Nothing. Not a trace of Teresa in the trailer or in the garage. Now, in the garage, there's the bullet. And people will say, oh, yeah, but they found her DNA on that bullet. But I don't believe that bullet was in the garage when Teresa was supposedly shot in there. I don't believe the bullet was there. I don't believe the bullet was there when the crack was getting jackhammered in the garage. There was a crack. They brought in a jackhammer, and they jackhammered the crack, thinking that they were going to find Teresa's blood in the crack. They didn't. Okay? They did create a bunch of concrete dust. That's what they did create. And the vibrations of the jackhammer on the concrete caused the concrete dust to kind of form up into like little veins, where it was like little, veins of dust across the concrete floor. The bullet is actually sitting on top of one of those veins of dust, and it's shiny. Anybody that knows anything about concrete, it will instantly make a shiny object dull. The concrete just does that. What's up?
Oh, I can't find my Scooby School. It's a bad night. And Discord.
Oh.
Okay. It's a conspiracy. There's a conspiracy.
Yeah. Hashtag magic just repelling bullet. Excellent, Fen. Absolutely. Sorry, Scoop?
I said it's a conspiracy. Now my Scooby School's gone off of Disney.
No, it's there.
I don't see it. No, I don't see it. It's gone. I can't find it. Oh, I'm gonna cry. Everything's gone.
Made dull. So basically, yeah, no trace of Teresa because I can't count the bullet. The bullet's ridiculous. The bullet's beyond ridiculous. So I can't count that. So no trace of Teresa. Okay? Just another reason why Brendan Dassey's confession is so beyond ridiculous. Right? It's just the effort put into, ruining a kid's life because they hated his uncle. I mean, the amount of effort and the lack of humanity to do that to Brendan and just not care, to find Brendan to be expendable because they hate his uncle so much. That is just absolutely, just abominable. And, they try to, they want to act like, when they won in the on bank or whatever, right? Like that was a solid decision, in their favor. No, it really wasn't. It really wasn't. If you think about it, 8 federal judges weighed in. They reviewed Brendan's case and they weighed in on it. They were split down the middle, 4-4. That's far from decisive. That's nowhere near decisive. That sounds like there's some disagreements in how interrogations of juveniles should go. That's what it sounds like to me. Sounds like 4 judges don't care and 4 judges think that there's currently a problem. And so, like I said, it's far from decisive when it's split down the middle, 4-4. Well, unfortunately, Judge Duffin wasn't at the on-bank review. Judge Duffin is the judge that originally granted Brendan his habeas relief, but he wasn't at the on-bank hearing. So, because of that, Brendan ended up losing 4-3. But if you take into account the fact that Judge Duffin is a federal judge, and he did review Brendan's case, and he said that Brendan deserved relief, he makes 4 federal judges that decided that way, that chose to make their decision that way. So just a bummer that Judge Duffin wasn't at the on-bank review, obviously, or that he's not at the 7th Circuit Court. But what are you going to do? Truth Monster. Duffin's the first normal person in a robe. Could be. Sweat doesn't have DNA. Can. Yeah, right. If dead skin cells come off in the sweat and stuff, it can have DNA. Yeah.
You know what? Oh, I'll tell you later.
Hi, Amber. How you doing? Hey, T1. Good to see you, buddy. It's like flipping a coin and it landing straight up. Yeah, like in the Twilight Zone episode. You get to read minds all day. Anyway. They have something over her. I still remember her saying to Stephen Avery in that horrid phone convo with ST blithering as well. Do you want a dead sister? Yeah, well.
Hey, am I on here?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't. Okay. I was making sure. So I didn't. Respectable.
Why did he say Stephen went under the hood of the RAV4? Why did Brendan say it?
Someone
If
told
you're
me.
asking me why Brendan said it, it's because Tom Fassbender suggested it to him. Specifically, he suggested it to him. He actually says, Brendan, something under the hood. There's something you guys did before you left that RAV4. There's something under the hood. Can you, do you know what he did? Or, did he, whatever. And that's when Brendan said, yeah, he opened the hood or whatever. He says something like that. Basically just agreeing with the planted fact by Fassbender. Once again. Ziggy says she doesn't know what problem you were having, but she says she might have been able to assist
My problem?
with getting your
Yeah,
computer
I'm
connected.
really sorry, everyone. I was so excited. I had this beautiful PowerPoint presentation, and I'm so excited because I found these incredible videos about statistics, and I just had so much exciting stuff. And then I got this extra monitor to be able to do the PowerPoint presentation, and none of it's working. And now I just found out something really, really that makes me sad.
Yeah. And a lot of times when Brendan did get the facts right, it was multiple guesses to get there, and it had most likely pretty much every time had been suggested previously, sometimes the day before or whatever. But there was always a previous mention of it that when he was reaching trying to please them, that he was probably thinking back to, So that's the way it goes with Brendan. Could be, but they knew. But then again, it's also because and that's probably why they wanted the hood latch swab, right? Because then they could say Stephen's DNA is under the hood latch and whatever. They use that buccal swab for that, So it could be that that's what they were looking to do, to try to cover their own tracks by pinning it on Stephen. Hi, Charlie Burrish. So then you look at so if you look beyond even Brendan, right? Obviously, Brendan's one thing around Stephen, right? Around Stephen that shows obvious, to me, obvious mishandling, obvious, bias, obvious, just, obviously they coerced that kid because that confession didn't come from him. It was fed to him. And that's a big deal. And that is a big deal. So, we got that. We got obviously Brendan's a big deal. We got the fact that the coroner was blocked. Even though Ken Kratz is going to tell you it's not a big deal, it is a big deal. Why is the sole department of Manitowoc County Sheriff's Department doesn't have a conflict of interest blocked?
You have a body, you have to have a coroner.
Right.
I mean, it's the law. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what I don't understand is how they get. Bones are a body. I mean, I realize people say it's not a body, but anything
Right.
to do with human remains, you have to. That's why I don't know how they got away. They had the Calumet guy. That's how they got away with it. But I had him because he was a player. In mind.
Mm-hmm.
He just went along with the plan.
Yeah, I mean,
because what they should have done, and I've seen this I was watching another similar case in Minnesota that took place a decade before. Actually, I think Linda might have even been the one to send me the link about this case, but right away, the coroner, it was like in a small town too, knew they were like over their head. So they called in, which is probably what Deb from Manitowoc would have done. She would have called in somebody experienced, because you don't see, if you know, this is not like, your everyday case.
Right.
And that's what they didn't want. They didn't want other eyes coming in, and
Yeah, it's what I'm thinking is that
other eyes.
they knew that. Yeah, I think they knew that she wasn't going to fall into line and play ball with their little scheme, right? So I think they wanted her as far away from it as possible because they didn't want her. They just figured she'll walk on and just call it like she sees it, and they didn't really want that.
Right. Say we need to get.
And so they brought in Calumet County's coroner,
a qualified pathologist, like on the scene, somebody on the scene to be like making a grid and doing a proper investigation.
Like an archaeological grid-like retrieval, right?
Eisenberg wasn't, in charge. She didn't take charge of anything. I don't know, what the parameters of the jobs are, but it seems to me if she's like running this excavation, she even testified in her testimony. Oh, I didn't really know very much about how the bones were retrieved. Well, that's so important. Like they say, like how you find the remains, which is why the pictures of how you actually find them, that gives you a lot of clues about, what may have happened. For instance, are they, fragmented? Are they all jumbled up in a mess? Are they, in an order that makes sense, like an arm that was burned right here,
right where like a body would lay or whatever, right,
kind of like the Ripper guy showed with his burned
llama, right.
If you just burn an animal, things are sort of in an orderly,
right. The spinal column was in one kind of
place, right, and that's why looking at the scene, as they call it, in situ, as it exists, is so important, and taking the photographs and
right,
that's like obvious. So I think, to me, it means that it was intentional, because they could, even these guys couldn't have been that clueless to know.
So Lloyd Bay says, Erekose, which is greater, the total crime Stephen and Brendan were charged with, or the laws the state has broken investigating and prosecuting them? That's funny. I like that, Lloyd. Every case Kratz had where the coroner testified should be retired. KK glares straight through her when she was taking the stand. What an a-hole. Too bad they didn't take any pictures, except they did. No, wait, they didn't. Yeah, right. Who is the anthropologist that ID'd the bones? Leslie Eisenberg. And the funny thing is about that, he's like, because the coroner can't tell me what a forensic pathologist. Yeah, well, forensic pathologist came in and identified 6 bones from the Manitowoc County gravel pit as human, Kratz. In fact, if you have any doubt that those bones are human, you only have to look to 2011, where the state, Fallon, Gahn, and Deputy Hawkins, I believe it is, went in and collected those very bones that your forensic pathologist, identified as human, and one possible human bone. And that's what they used to give the bones back to the Hallbacks, because even the state believed those were Teresa's bones, but they didn't want to say that at trial. They kept that from coming out at trial because they knew the jury might see some merit in that. And they're right to think that the jury might see some merit in that. So, yeah. How the bones are found can probably explain the crime scene better. Absolutely. A map of where they lay and the placement of them. Absolutely. If they had been if they had been telling the truth, they would have done a proper grid excavation. Can't believe Eisenberg agreed to operate under such suboptimal conditions. Working off photos only is ridiculous.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing too. How many?
Yeah.
To
Go ahead.
Yeah, and that's a good point that she would agree to even work on under
Right.
and from
Such
photos.
limited
Well, I
or
was a little disappointed in the defense guy too, that he didn't, and he mostly did a lot of his stuff from photos.
right.
And photos you can't, can be so deceptive. You can't.
Sure.
I don't see how you could really make any kind of
Just look at the Melissa Kaluzinski case. Anyway.
Well, yeah. Photos and X-rays, yeah. Well, X-rays. It's coming out more and more that X-rays are a real problem in forensics.
In the courts, right?
In the courts, because you can see, there's so many. You can see shit. So you can see there's so much examiner bias. You can see, what you want, if you really want to.
Don't spend more than 20 seconds on them. Deflect. Worst crime would be the laws broken by police and the prosecution, because that's just a criminal hiding behind a gun and a badge. Going to be a criminal if you're going to be a yeah. So hiding behind a badge so that you can break the rules is pretty disingenuous. I'll just leave it at that. All the stuff is way beyond effed up. In law enforcement, being law enforcement, but you can't be a criminal behind a badge. Absolutely. Let's see, the phone doing weird stuff. That Discord link says expired. Try one. Pom posted. They would have known that the body was not burned there, and then no case at all against SABD. Most of the state's experts are an embarrassment. Truly, I mean, that blood spatter expert is he's another one, man. He's part of the brain trust, isn't he? Thinking that those drops got onto the interior of the tailgate from Teresa's body, being like thrown so hard into the back of the RAV4 that the hair flung out and put those drops on the interior of the RAV4 door. Folks, that's a ridiculous attempt to explain that. Bona fide ridiculous. Anyway. And the DNA texting should be blind testing, to be fair.
Oh,
yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Don't bother trying to apply logic to liars' minds. So what was SA's motive? SA didn't have a motive. That's the other thing. Thank you for bringing that up, TA or T1.
Yeah.
When I was listening to that, Kratz said, why would they talk about Bobby? Why would they say Bobby's a better suspect than Steven? Whatever. And he's like, there's no physical evidence with Bobby. All the physical evidence points at Avery. All the motive is with Avery, not with Bobby. And it's like, wait, whoa, Kratz, whoa. You didn't have any motive for Avery. You tried him without any motive. So what are you talking about, motive? I don't know. I thought that was interesting when he said that. I just thought that was pretty interesting. What motive do you speak of, Kratz? All I want to see just now, just how the state gets out of this stuff. If you haven't already, check out the podcast serial. Kratz needs to take a pill of the chill variety. No, he needs to keep talking. No. We want Kratz. Keep talking, Kratz. Keep on talking, Kenny. I love it. Tunnel vision. They already had the criminal for the crime, not a suspect. Kratz needs a bath, or maybe I do after watching him. Motive has always been an issue. There is no motive. That's why when he was talking about the motive was with Avery, I'm like, what? What motive? What freaking motive are you talking about? There is no motive. The only motive, and I was just doing a video about this the other night, the only motive in this case is with the Manitowoc County Sheriff's Department. They had quite a bit of motive to make Stephen go away. So, I mean, that's the motive in this case, and the only ones that have it. So, anyway. It is blatantly obvious the state abandoned any sense of fairness, honesty, or ethics in their sprint to convict Avery and screw Brendan as collateral damage. Absolutely. I mean, it's obvious. Let him keep digging his hole. Absolutely. Let's see. I hate when Kratz says I didn't make a murderer, I convicted one. Yeah. He thinks he's clever. You know, that's Kratz. Why Kratz would just lie on the stand as there was no murder committed, there was no motive. Well, okay, well, I'm not saying there's no murder committed. That's not what I'm saying. But anyway, the point is that this was tried by Kratz. King Kratz was the district attorney, and this was tried as a motiveless crime. Remember? The state didn't need to show motive. Remember? But if Stephen wanted to mention a third-party suspect, he had to show motive, even though the state was trying it as a crime without motive. Stephen was still under a burden to provide motive. That seem a little inequitable? I don't know. You know? Where's the crime scene? Absolutely. Person I talked to tonight was so darn shallow that she thinks SA is guilty because he gives her the creeps. Oh yeah, those are the real peaches there, Ziggs. I love those ones. Anything to fit what Kratz says, even if it has no bearing on the truth, he has no truth at all. Absolutely. On the part of the Averys. Absolutely, I think Manitowoc and Calumet are playing everyone. I can't even attempt to make sense to people like that. Yeah, Kratz is the real Mensa candidate. Yeah, there you go. Ziggy, that's a smart, non-biased person you were speaking with. Kratz days are numbered. Lies always surface, no matter how far buried under the sweat they are. What happened to the presumption of innocence? Indeed. What did happen to it with Stephen and Brendan? Because it was removed with Kratz's press conference, that's for sure. Wiegert has a lot to answer for in my book. Let's see. Hope you noticed my follow-up that said no motive, no murder committed by the Averys. There you go, folks. No motive, no murder. So, and, so I don't know. Let's move on to another peripheral aspect. Something around Stephen, right? That kind of points to the dishonesty, right? How about Peg Lautenschlager's whitewashed report about what happened in 1985? Her bogus report claiming that it was just a breakdown of communication. No, it wasn't a breakdown of communication. That's not what it was. It was a breakdown in the listening skills of Manitowoc County Sheriff's Department. That's what it was. And I doubt it was a breakdown in their listening skills, because I think they listened just fine. Because they seemed to listen well enough that they realized 8 years later, the day after Stephen Avery got out of prison, that they should probably write a statement at that point. So that tells me the communication was good. Even the listening was good. It was corrupt Manitowoc County Sheriff's Department that was the problem. So Peg's whitewashed report, where she basically says, "Oh no, nobody did anything wrong. It's okay. There was no wrongdoing here. There's nothing here that we need to point out that doesn't get done in the future. Nah, we don't have anything like that here." Are you freaking kidding me? I mean, Peg L's report about basically just, absolving everybody in the 1985 thing was just absolutely atrocious.
Okay, I sent you a message on Messenger, okay? Can you send my...
I know.
I made my Scooby School link, and people can just come there. I'll just put my thing there. I want to talk about it. I can't send a link out. I just made a new one.
All right. Okay, guys, I'm going to post a link for Scooby's Discord.
But there's nothing there now because I have to start it all over, so...
Okay.
But if anybody wants to... I'm going to try to put my PowerPoint up there and talk about DNA. If anyone wants to. Okay.
Yeah, it's not going to work.
Okay. Well, nothing's working tonight. I don't know.
Hold on.
I have to get my icon up and everything. It's just newly created now. Anyway, carry on. Okay.
Hold on. All right, well, I can't get a link, so okay, invite people. There we go. Copy. All right.
Oh, well, you joined. Okay, it's me and you. Me and you are there.
There you go, folks. That is a link to Scooby School Discord.
Yeah, although there's nothing there, but
there's nothing there at the moment.
But it will be developing. You could ask questions, and I have to figure out how to set up a Discord. I had one, but it got once again Scooby School's been closed. This time I'm doing it myself. I'm not trusting anybody else anymore ever. Okay, I'm gonna go talk about DNA. Oh.
Mark says, "Motive, Mr. Kratz? Lies are hard to remember. The truth stays solid." I love it. Excellent point, Mark. The Hod. The Hod is in the house. Anyway, but no, brilliant. Absolutely, Mark. Absolutely, buddy. Here, let's see. He keeps harping on about the cat killer. Yeah, that's true. How's it going, the Hod? We got the Hod in the house. What's up, dude? So, obviously, everybody remember, go over and subscribe to Stacy. We really want Stacy to be able to go live from his mobile phone. So if you guys can help us out, let's get him up to 1,000 subscribers. And then pay attention around rally time, because he may be going live and you may want to tune in. So, So I've been talking, folks, to talk a little bit about MAMathon here real quick before we go. So I've been talking to some folks. I may have something kind of special lined up, I think, hopefully. If I can't have this person on this weekend, I'm going to ask this person that I'm thinking of right now if they will do a pre-recorded segment with me. So, but it's a really exciting defense attorney who is very passionate about Brendan and Stephen, and he hasn't really been, researching the recent developments of the case, unfortunately. But he knows, he knows this case well. He just probably hasn't really been reading all the recent motions. Anyways, I think this guy is really brilliant. His name is Mike Cavaluzzi, so I'm hoping that we're going to have him on.
Oh, I know who he is.
You know who he is?
I've got lots of ideas.
Well, like I said, so hopefully he's going to be able to, if we can make it happen. And like I said, I may end up having to do a pre-recorded segment with him, just so that it won't conflict with his schedule, because I don't want to ruin his weekend just so he can be here to talk on basically a podcast. Although I did let him know he could do hangouts from anywhere, literally anywhere he has a strong internet connection in his telephone, his smartphone, he could join. And so literally it would be easy to carve out 30 minutes, or well, at least it's possible to just carve out 30 minutes somewhere where you have an internet connection, a reliable one, and sit down. So hopefully, I'm hoping you guys are going to love him when you see him if he comes on, because he's obviously very smart and he understands the law and everything and all that, but he's also very passionate. He's like, I dig it. I dig listening to this guy because he's smart and he's got the passion to back up his smarts. And I just think it's brilliant. So hopefully we're going to see him. Obviously, I've talked to Steve Moore. He's totally agreeable to come on. It definitely looks like his training will be over with in time for him to join me for a little while during the weekend. So there's that. I got several of your favorite Redditors lined up to be on. It may be interesting how they come on. Some of them might be through the phone, and I just have my speaker phone up to the microphone. So it may end up being something like that with some of them. Some of them may join the Hangout and just have their profile pic from like Twitter or whatever up for you guys for that to, instead of their camera on. But it's going to be interesting because obviously I know some of you are probably going to dig being able to ask some of your favorite Redditors maybe a question or two or that sort of thing. So lining that sort of up, we got Brandon Maddox. Brandon Maddox is going to be on with me most likely on Sunday. Obviously performing Man Up Manitowoc. I requested, I'm pretty good at drinking beer. So there's that to look forward to. That's the song. If you guys don't know it, it's pretty funny. Go check it out. Anyway, so there's Brandon Maddox. There's Sean Atwood, who I think is still, I talked to him about a week and a half ago, and he was willing to come on. He said it might be tough because he's actually traveling this coming weekend and stuff, but he thought he might be able to give me some time on Sunday. So, hopefully that's what we got going. So I'm gonna be, obviously ironing these things out. As I have been. Basically, I've been getting home from work every night, and I've been on the phone for hours and until I go to sleep, or I'm on the phone until I go live. Then I get off. Then I'm done going live, and I'm on the phone again until I go to sleep. It's just been nonstop, just trying to help line this stuff up, get on some interesting, people, and create some interesting conversation. So it's been an effort. And we hope it goes well, and we hope you guys all appreciate it and that you guys have fun and enjoy it.
Am
Go
I
ahead,
still
Scoop.
here? Oh, I was just asking. I didn't know if I was still on. I'll have to talk. Am I coming on?
Yes, you can absolutely be on.
Okay.
You want to? If you want, I'm going to have Tracy. I'm trying to schedule Tracy Keogh with J-Jax, the Redditor J-Jax. And so maybe we have you on and have all three of you together on Friday night.
Okay, well, we'll have to talk separately because I didn't know if you wanted any DNA stuff or anything, or if you wanted any.
Probably not during MAMathon, just because it might be a bit much.
Oh, okay.
When you and I do a private video where it's you and I and teaching, certainly. But I think for MAMathon, we want the flow to be people talking, chat.
Oh, okay.
That type of, stuff, so
Okay.
that's what I'm thinking anyway. So.
Okay. Well, just let me know if you Okay, but anyway, we'll
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. It's you know, it's been daunting. I'll tell you what. I was even making phone calls while I was still at work. Like I was packing up the tools at the end of the day, and I was making calls to people to help line things up. So I mean, it was crazy. I never do that. I don't like to do that. I hate doing that. But I do that. I'm doing that for now because it needs to get done, and you know, so it's kind of my cardinal rule. I hate doing that while I'm on the clock. I don't hate, but it was the end of the day when I was packing up, so I allowed myself to start a little early. But yeah, that's what I'm trying to do, just to get so we can have something fun for you guys. So I think that's about it for tonight. Anything you want to leave them with, Scooby?
What?
Anything you want to leave them with? You want to talk to them about before we go?
Oh, no, but I think the DNA is an important part of the case. I thought it was going to be part of the MAM-a-thon. But anyway, okay. Good night.
All right. Well, good night, Scoobs.
Preference?
So,
I'll come back to you later. Okay.
all right. Anyway, so hey, folks, you all know the song and dance.
Yes.
You know, if you haven't already, please hit subscribe. But also go over and hit it for Stacy. Don't forget, go over and hit it for Stacy, folks. All right. Okay. We'll see you guys. Got some exciting stuff coming up this weekend. You know it. So be here. Want to see you here. Want to see you in the live chat participating. All right, guys. Be good. We'll see you.